Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, B, and I am back with another episode of Grown Folk Talk, where we're going to talk about any and everything that's going on in the world. So today we have another classic, Uncle Kevin or The Godfather. And let's get right into it, you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share the content. Let's go.
Are they ready to be wives or just ready to be side chicks at best?
I would say a lot of women in this society are ready to be side chicks more than wives. I feel like they feel like the benefits are easier to reap than being through a struggle or in an actual committed and serious situation or structure. Maybe a lot of them haven't had any structure or maybe male role models or a male opinion on.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the average modern woman is taking life seriously?
No, definitely not at the degree of City Girls and Hot Girl Summer. I don't think
that's what it really comes. That's because.
Okay, let me add this. With the whole side chick thing, I've been married for a long time, so the side chick thing ain't really something that I'm familiar with personally. So that one is gonna be a little difficult for me. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know a lot of chicks who like even date rich guys or guys on that level. You know, I'm average, and everybody I know is average. So I don't know of anybody who's like, yeah, he the ish. So I don't mind being a side chick just to reap these benefits, or as she said, like to not go through the struggle and the drama. So I can't really relate to the side chick epidemic as far as in my circle. So let's see what else she got to add.
Comes down to how old is your child?
She's 6.
Okay, so before a child and after a child are two different things.
Yes.
You have to take life a hell of a lot more seriously.
Also, I want to add about her looks. Let's talk about her, right? Forgot to do that. She looked decent. She didn't really look like, she did anything, spruced herself up before coming on here. So I would say natural beauty. We love braids. No makeup. I don't see no false lashes. So I think she a nice looking young lady, me personally.
When you're responsible for the life of somebody else.
Definitely.
So okay. Go ahead. I don't want to. You only got a few minutes. You have a question that you want to ask me because I've already asked my question.
Yes, I do. I actually am in a relationship with my child's father and have been for 8 years. I definitely have a father figure. He raised me. My mother was in and out of my life. So just trying to hone in the maturity level of the male perspective.
Okay.
On how,
what do you want as an outcome with your man?
I would like to be married. Well, we're on our way. We've been engaged for 2 years.
How many?
She been with him for 8 years. Her child's father for 8 years, and she talking about engaged for 2 years, and she want to be married. I don't know about that. I think that, and I'm speaking my own personal experience too, if a man is marriage minded and he wants to be married to you, we all know it don't take 8 years. And you got a kid together. If the kid didn't get you down the aisle, I don't know what else could possibly get you there. They called it shotgun weddings back in the day for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And people like to talk stuff about that or whatever. But, there's a lot of people who balled out on weddings and they ain't together no more. So I'm not opposed to a shotgun. I'm not opposed to a court wedding. That's what I did. It was either spend a lot of money on a big fancy wedding or get housing established, have our own place, and, have a fresh start. So we chose that versus, trying to put it, it's people who put weddings on credit cards and people who just borrow money, get money given to them. It's a lot of people who spend a lot of money on wedding dresses for women who'll never wear it again. And God forbid you spend all that money on a wedding and you get divorced. It's a lot of that going on. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. But I know my husband, he had a coworker who spent like 20K on a wedding and ended up getting divorced. And depending on what family you come from, that might be a small wedding, 20K. So I don't know about putting in 8 years with somebody and still not married. I don't know. I don't know what states do that common law spouse thing either. So I'm just not sure.
How many children does he have?
We both share one.
Okay. And how old is he?
He's 29.
And you're how old again?
27.
So what's the hold up on marriage?
He says my attitude and the way that I speak, I would say, towards men, which I agree. I feel like seeing my mother, kind of the way she talks to my father, even now they're not together and it's been 20 years, I do see a lot of resemblance in the respect factor.
So you disrespect your child's father?
In arguments, yes.
Pause. Look, let me tell you something that I learned. I've been married for a long time, and one thing I had to learn on the job training, you gotta know how to talk to a man. You gotta treat him with respect. And I think sometimes as women, I don't know where we get this from, but I think that we don't think men even have feelings, let alone do we regard them, And as I'm listening to her, seeing what the holdup is, she basically what that one lady called a placeholder. You just in place right now till he finds something else. 9 times out of 10, he ain't about to marry you because he would have did it. And she's verbalizing a understanding of why her son's father hasn't married her. And I think that's something that we definitely need to own, women. That's something that we definitely need to own and stop. Men have feelings. They want to be treated with respect. They don't want us giving them attitude. I know my husband say this all the time, like, just don't get an attitude. That's like his biggest thing with me. Don't get an attitude. I tease him sometimes and say an attitude is kryptonite. Like, an attitude will just instantly piss him off. That energy transfers. It's just nothing good comes out of that. It's best to just, communicate and say, this is what bothered me. This is what got me worked up. Men hate us having an attitude. Like, that was some new information for me a couple years ago, just to keep it real. So a lot of women need to realize that an attitude, and especially in arguments. I think when you're younger, she late 20s, so yeah, but you learn, like, okay, if we get into an argument or we having a disagreement, it's certain lines you don't cross. Sometimes you just shut up. You let that person get it off. You don't go back and forth. You're an adult. You can take your spouse cursing at you and yelling at you and not give it back to them. It comes a time where you like, okay, let me just, I don't want to use the S word. I know that's kryptonite. You just want to cooperate. That's my new thing I'm telling women. Take away the word submissive and replace it with the word cooperate. Men just want you to cooperate, and I think that word goes over better. I know it helped me when I started doing a lot of self-reflecting and looking at myself to make sure I'm lining up with the gems Uncle Kevin dropped, and to make sure my man happy, right? Don't nobody want their man to not be happy with them. You with this person for a reason. You care about them. You care about their feelings. So I do a lot of self-evaluation, self-reflecting, looking in the mirror, because I know I am not perfect. So I kind of, when I hear submissive, I'm more so replace it with the word cooperation so that I don't get in my feelings about it and like see the bigger picture. So one thing that women need to understand, hopefully this lady figured it out after she left Kevin. One thing I'm learning, that when people come on to social media and the internet, things don't go the way they thought that they would go. So hopefully she had a good outcome from coming on here. But a lot of people come on social media, put their face and business out there, and then get mad when they face backlash. And it's like, you didn't have to do that. At almost 30 years old, I would think you could understand that your man wants you to talk to him and treat him with dignity and respect, just like we do. As women, we have deal breakers. I know a lot of us, our deal breakers are abusive. We're not dealing with no abusive man, and women don't want to be cheated on. So men have the same, right? They have certain standards. They may not want an overweight or obese or morbidly obese woman. They may not want a woman who's combative or argumentative or who's mouthy, who got attitude, who do stuff like this and tell you a mama's boy, you know, things like that. So it's definitely something that women need to work on. We need to work on having an attitude, if that's, you know, a big ticket item for your man, and talking to him with dignity and respect, even if you guys are not seeing eye to eye.
And out of anger, not necessarily to disrespect him, like
Okay, so
as a man.
well, yeah. So yeah, how you fight says a lot.
Yes.
So he's been with you for 8 years, and you have a child. If he was taken away from you tomorrow in a car accident, you think you could operate like that with another man and him marry you?
No.
Okay. So if you got a man that's with you, either you act like you need to act, or you run the risk of losing him.
Yes, and that's my question is to get into the mindset of not, well, I don't want to say like submit, like how feminists or whatever use that word, but like submit more, and so like having a male like leadership and me taking the backseat and not trying to be the leader, if that makes
Why are you trying? You want to know what I think or what he thinks?
know what you think, like what am
Well,
would you
okay,
do?
ma'am, you listen to your man.
Right, of course.
Okay, because I'm not going to overstep my boundaries. That is your child's father, and he's been with you 8 years. He told you what he wants.
Right.
Here's what you do. You do it.
Right.
You don't need me to come. You don't need me.
Exactly. You don't need Uncle Kevin or nobody else to tell you. If you want your relationship to work with the person you with, and they're telling you, like, one of my things, yeah, I don't want you to put your hands on me. You know, so my husband knows that's a deal breaker. Same thing with men. Men, there's certain things that they don't want. You know, every man is different, but the point is, he already told you. You don't need Kevin to tell you. You need to do what he says. And a lot of times, women don't even have a problem with doing what they man say. It's outsiders. It's his family. It's your family. It's your friends. It's society, reality TV. You know, it's people who sit up every day and watch reality TV, which that stuff is the furthest from reality. But you'll have a chick with a man with money. I ain't even gonna say high value man, but maybe they, you know, got a little bit of money and they popping off at the mouth, and they out to dinner. They got these designer clothes and things like that. And our people, some, you know, depending on their mentality and the environment they was brought up in, they'll think that that's a goal. Like that's, you know, the term people throw around a lot, relationship goals. Like this is something to aspire to. And it's fake. It's all set up. They're all, you know, set up to be at that location. All the drama is set up. So a lot of people, you've heard the saying, you need to keep other people out of your relationship. That's something that I had to learn. Like I said, I've been married a long time. So I had to learn that my mother, for example, she may have an opinion on a situation with me and my husband. Because first of all, I get that rap. I get the, oh, I couldn't be you. Oh, I couldn't, the stuff. And I get this from my family and my in-laws. I couldn't be with him. His people, like, I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't deal with what you deal with. And they on the outside looking in, and I guess they almost feel sorry for me. I guess my life is miserable, you know. But you'll have people who give their opinion. And one thing my husband always say is, well, let's look at that person. Let's look at their relationship, if they have one. Let's look at their marriage, if they've ever been. You know, so it's just different things that people project on the other people. You know, some people feel like your man should have you living in a certain house, a certain zip code. And if y'all are not, they speak on that. If he don't have a certain job or career path, they speak on that. So in a nutshell, Kevin is telling her, just listen to your man and do what your man say. Don't listen to other people. Not saying that having a counselor or somebody who has wisdom, that's very valuable in an elder or something like that. But just somebody just talking out the side of their neck, giving you relationship advice when they don't have a relationship or have never had a successful marriage, absolutely no. There's a lot of people I've learned to not listen to, because at the end of the day, I live with my husband. I've been living with him for 20 years. So I know him. I know he's a quality man. So why would I listen to someone else because they think he should do this, or they think because I do this, I shouldn't have to do this. And the fact that, I don't know, I have to get permission from him to do stuff. That's like, oh God, no, I wouldn't be answering to him. And you have the outcomes you have because of that, but I'm not complaining about it. You know what I'm saying? We've reached an understanding, and that's what men are looking for, that cooperation. We have an understanding. You're not going to let an outsider come in and shake things up, so to speak.
Jesus, the pastor, to tell you something else when you got a man who's there by you?
Right.
That's disrespectful by itself. Why don't you just give the man what he wants?
Even if I feel as though I am, would that not suffice?
If I asked him, are you giving him what he wants? What would he say?
I would hope yes.
Okay, if you're saying the hold up on marriage is the way you act towards him disrespectfully, right?
Yes.
Then you're not giving him what he wants.
Right.
See, what it comes down to is this rebellious spirit in you females.
Right.
You want to give him what you think he deserves. And if he would up and leave you, then you'd be on my show talking about how your baby daddy left. The man told you what he wants. Either you give it to him or you leave him alone and let him go get a woman that's going to give him what he wants. I'm not one for breaking up families, but you're just being outright rebellious.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot of that in our communities these days, the rebelliousness on all levels. But since this is about women, we're going to speak on that. Like I was just saying earlier, you will have like a friend or somebody, alleged friend, right, who will tell you like, no, you don't need to listen to your man. He said you can't wear that. Girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. You could wear that. Like, it's just so crazy how that wedge has become there to divide us and divide our families and our households. And I know it's bigger than just us and our families and friends. It's a agenda behind it for sure. Because we're the least married or whatever, but we've got to let go of that, because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, I don't know about y'all and y'all families, but man, we done had several deaths in our families lately. People dying, and and as you get older, you start to think about that stuff. Like, you know what? Sometimes money ain't everything. A big house ain't everything, because rich people be miserable and killing themselves, all kind of stuff. Sometimes it's about having an understanding with somebody, a companion, somebody to laugh with, have memories with, to live your life with, to cry with, to raise children with, not to always be in some kind of competition or letting somebody else put poison in your ear against the person that you live with and saying you love.
Right. I would agree to being.
So I gotta ask a hard question then.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
If you lose him, you think you're gonna do better?
Definitely not.
Then why don't you act like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to do that.
Pride.
There's no want to, man. There's no reason to not respectfully cooperate.
Right.
You've been around here for 8 years. This is about you, your ego, and your attitude. It ain't about how you were raised, everything else. Sounds like he's made it too easy for you.
Right.
And you've lost respect for him. And when I hear women, if you respect him, you wouldn't open your mouth and say what you say in an argument.
Right. I agree with that part.
Then how are you gonna say you respect them?
No, I mean, it's just like things are said like in the heat of the moment, not necessarily like that's how I treat him throughout the
Ma'am,
relationship.
ma'am, I've been alive too long.
Yes.
When these
I understand.
arguments start, come on, hold the phone up. Your face is too low. When
Okay.
these arguments start, see, you fight dirty. And what I'm hearing is you talk to your man like a woman.
No.
Oh yeah, you do. Because if you talk to him like you should talk to a man, you should know from a safety standpoint that you need to keep your mouth closed. See, when two men are talking, there's a low-level threat of violence. If I'm sitting here talking to a man, I know there are lines. I
Right.
can't cross certain lines with any man. I don't care how big or small he is. After a certain line, we're gonna have to shoot the fair one. But
Right.
you will go damn well low because you know good and well he ain't gonna do nothing. Because if you talk the way if you argue with him, if you argue with a woman the way you argue with him,
This is something that I'm passionate about what he's saying right now, because I've said this in stories before. You're probably going to hear it a lot on this channel about Sister Rosemary. I never had this problem, but if I did, I learned through Sister Rosemary. Do not talk reckless and disrespectful to no man. You might find yourself slapped to the ground tasting concrete.
would you and that woman end up in a conflict?
Possibly. I feel like it depends. Like, it's not necessarily like always like a threat or, aggressive. It's just maybe the way I say certain things or pertaining to certain situations. Like, it may not be in his perspective. And
No, ma'am, we're not talking about those. We're not talking about the innocent thing. We're talking about when you know you're saying something low and dirty just to hurt him.
Right.
Okay, then you're doing it to hurt.
Right.
All right. So
And we've all done that in relationships, but the thing is growth. You get older, you realize you cannot do that. There's certain things you can't do or say. If you need to go outside, get some air, go sit in the car, have a drink, whatever it is you do, put on some Anita Baker, whatever you do to decompress, you have to do that when you're in a relationship. You have to be a freaking adult. And you have to understand there's certain things I shouldn't say no matter how upset I am, because I love this person. When you get older and you understand what love really is, you will move in a way that certain things I'm not going to do, even if I'm tempted by it, even if I think about it, I'm not going to do it because it'll hurt this person. And you don't want to hurt somebody you love if you really love them. That's how I learned what love really was. Because most of us are selfish.
you're intentionally inflicting damage on your man.
Mm-hmm.
And if he were to turn around and physically inflict damage on him, the society would blame him and say he shouldn't do it. But you could be verbally violent with your child's father.
Right, which I agree. I don't want to be that way. I don't think that's fair.
Then have you had any therapy?
I have, and
Okay.
it was more like church based though, so I
Then
didn't.
that's not therapy.
Yeah, I didn't.
Ma'am, here's the thing. I think you take your man for granted. I think that if you've been with him so long, you ain't been out here. I'm not really an advocate for families breaking up, but I bet you if he left you and got him another woman and you had to figure it out for this year, I bet you found a way to control your mouth and get under control. You know what this man wants. You know what he wants.
Yes.
Then give it to him or risk losing him. See, gentlemen, this is why you don't ever let your women this is why we should never let our women get comfortable. Because this is what happens. They start to end up, inevitably, the disrespect happens. Women test for strength. And so many men are trying to be the nice guy. And we're getting bitched.
Well, I definitely don't want to bitch him. That's not what I.
Well, when's the last time you guys had an argument that you talk dirty or foul?
Well, not necessarily talking dirty, but like I wasn't listening. He was trying to like calm me down because I was in another altercation with another person, and he was just kind of saying
A
like,
physical altercation?
no, just a verbal,
Who was this person?
another female.
Was it a coworker or something?
No, just a friend. Like we just wasn't seeing eye to eye on a particular situation, and it got to the point where disrespect was being thrown. So of course,
Between you and this other woman?
yes,
Were you guys in person?
yes. And
Was this
he
person
was
at your
trying
house? Was this person at your house?
Yes.
Why didn't you tell her to leave your house?
I did.
Okay.
And
why didn't she leave your house?
I mean, she did. Eventually, she was like gathering her things and like leaving. But in the middle of me telling her to leave, that's when words were being exchanged, and he was trying to calm me down.
See the way I'm that's that man's counsel.
Mm-hmm.
And your female friend is bringing chaos into his castle.
Right.
Your job is to make sure his castle stays chaos free. Not to get your point across and get your shit straightened out with your girl.
Right.
Okay, y'all, this is almost over, but I do want to add my 2 cents on what he's saying. Again, something that I had to learn about your man's space, your home being chaos free. Y'all remember that the memes that was going on not too long ago, like, be his peace. He already going through this or that. And that's something that I had to learn about my household, the environment. When you have that level of respect and you understand to an extent, because we're female, so we don't know 100% what our men go through, but they go through a lot. So when they come home, that's like the only little place or space that they have to really let their guard down, relax, not be stressed. So the last thing you want to do if you want to keep your man and keep him happy is have this kind of stuff. And I would think at almost 30, you wouldn't have an alleged friend over to your house and y'all getting into it and your man got to come break up you and your girlfriend. And that's basically what Kevin is trying to tell her. Like, this is his space, his peace, his little piece of heaven, if you will, on earth. So you need to know, and this is stuff that some of our mothers didn't teach us. Whether your mother was the jealous type, so she didn't teach you nothing, or she didn't have no man, so she couldn't teach you nothing, or she didn't give a damn, she was too busy trying to live her best life. A lot of us had to learn this on the job training. A lot of us didn't have grandmothers to teach us anything. I know for one, I didn't have a grandmother to teach me anything, and my grandmother was married. So, I missed some things, but thank God my husband's older, patient, and I actually wanted to improve and better myself. I think a lot of people are stuck and don't give a damn and don't try to do any type of self-reflecting and holding themselves accountable and admitting and then trying to grow from that. But you definitely don't want to keep your man if your home is chaotic. And he can't even chill after work. And, what kind of friend come over to your house and y'all get into it? That's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's some young stuff.
That was disrespectful to him. And he's out of his alignment trying to calm you down when your first priority should have been, you can't raise your voice in my man's house.
Right.
That's not going to work. And if she got something to say, you down 911.
Right. I agree.
But that's not what happened. You was arguing with her and he's over here trying to save it. This is why, gentlemen, perfect example. We're all out of alignment. You sound like the man in the relationship.
No. I definitely don't.
Why is this woman arguing in your man's house? Why are you arguing with a woman in your man's house?
You're right.
Thank you.
I mean, I was the one that was trying to.
He's trying to calm you down like a wife would try to calm her husband down.
At least she's taking accountability.
I see.
Gender roles are blurred. But at the end of the day, sound like you got a guy who's trying to work with you. maybe you need to do what I suggest doing and cut off your single friends, get you some actual counseling and therapy, get you some couples counseling, and start off and go down to the justice of the peace, get married, move to a different city, and live your life with your family, because all this is chaotic.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're moving and acting in life as if this man ain't gonna leave. Everybody got a breaking point.
I agree.
Think about it. Think about it.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Yes, everybody's got a breaking point, like he said. And she is definitely acting like he ain't gonna leave. He ain't even married to you, so that real commitment ain't there. I know a lot of people think having a kid is a real commitment, but I mean, let's just keep it real. If that was the case, we wouldn't have to turn baby mama, baby daddy now, would we? So, in this young lady's case, just based on what she said to Uncle Kevin, she just got some stuff to learn. She may not have an OG, or old head to school her. Some of us along the way, we might have ran into somebody, worked with somebody who kind of put us up on game. But at the end of the day, you need to do what your man say. I think that's kind of like, at this point, we really got to say that. But if you want him, you want to keep him, you definitely need to factor in what he's saying, and then, start to like implement those things. It definitely ain't gonna work in your favor if you don't do what your man say. It's almost like, really, this is a discussion. But this is something that I did have to learn. I guess I just learned it a while back, but I'm not all the way there. Like, I'm still working, trying to build on my portfolio, you know what I'm saying, and make sure that I'm being what my spouse is looking for, because I have expectations too, right? We all do, so I can't be mad that he have expectations. So women, it's our time. It's a light being shined on us very brightly. Things are changing. Men are kind of waking up, getting tired of the BS. And that's cool, because, again, if you love somebody, you're going to be willing to make some changes. It's going to better you and them, the children, the whole household. And, again, women have standards, right? They don't want no broke ninja, but then men can't have a standard. They don't want you to be arguing with them, acting a fool, and that kind of stuff. So, again, like Kevin would say, what outcome do you want? You want to be miserable and somebody's baby mama, or do you want a family and you want to be a wife? Ultimately, it's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Grown Folk Talk. As always, we're going to talk about it. I'm your host, B.
Yeah,
I'm out.
B. Talk your shit.